ファミリーコンピュータの楽しいカセット情報。シングルスダブルスの本格テニスをコンピュータと技比べ、5段階のランクが楽しめます。ピンボール、迫力のフリッパー、スロットマシンのスリル、ポーカーゲームの興奮、ビンゴの面白さの全てを結集したピンボールの決定版。さらにゴルフ、光線銃など面白カセットどんどん登場。
We have to go back to the Hi-Def NES menu, which is a good time to show this off too, because it was left in select, by the way. I almost had it. I thought it was start, but palette doesn't show up. So resolution, we got 10, you know, it's running in 1080, and also we've been playing it for 18 minutes. Hard to believe, I know. Video options, scan lines, NES, palette. This is the Firebrand NTSC. But what we're more interested in is the audio options. So we're going to enable it. We're going to try FDS first. Back. And back. So, and by the way, I'm going to suggest this to Krikzz. Because I believe that it is needed, especially for this Pro. I know that it's a small user base that has it, but if you noticed, as I was going through the menu of the Hi-Def NES, because the Hi-Def NES actually captures the image before it goes out to the TV, there's really nothing stopping it from, say, when you're running in it, it doesn't exactly pause what's going on in the background. So I was going through the Everdrive menu as I was trying to get the expansion audio working on the Hi-Def NES. So what I'm hoping is maybe Krikzz can do a small firmware update and come up with a button combination that can disable the inputs on the in-game menu. Sort of like, okay, we have up and down for, you know, save state, but maybe can have left and start and right and start to pause or enable in-game menu movement. So this way, if I need to change something on the Hi-Def NES right now, and especially using this card, you're going to be doing it quite a bit. Because you can't just turn them all on, because if you do, then it's going to screw up the sound. Because when I first got this baby, I did that, and oh my god, it was bad. So let's do the Famicom disk system while we're at it. And let's obviously start with Zelda. I've never seen that before. Huh. Said, please set disk card. I wonder what BIOS he's using. Because, this never came with one. And it's working. Like, all I did, I didn't set my BIOS at all. I don't think I remember, I don't think I put a BIOS on the, in the menu or anything like that, but you saw it working. You see it working right now. I wonder what BIOS it is. Huh, better check that out later. But we have the in-game reset, the in-game Famicom disk system swap off. And the reason for that is because of this game. Because if you want to see the whole intro, you have to let it go. Or else it's just gonna swap the disc at the start screen. But that's what the button is for here. So we're gonna let this go, so you could see it. And by the way, you could tell a real difference in the FDS audio. So I guess the audio amp in the cartridge is working with the Hi-Def NES. I thought maybe with Hi-Def NES it wouldn't matter so much having it, but I guess it does. So we're gonna press the disc swap button, and the light goes on the cartridge, and it's swapped. I already like that because I previously used an FDS stick for I know I had the Everdrive, but at the time the FDS audio wasn't as good as it's become here. for the FDS stick, you had to press the button twice in quick succession to change the side, which eject and load the side. On the emulator, it's worse. You got to eject the disc, you got to swap the side, pop it back in, so that's 3 button presses. This is just 1. So we're going to register by pressing the start button. And what's really cool, and I got to show this, I got to put the tripod to it as soon as I get ready to start. And by the way, I'm going to show you something else too. It's a long name. I'm sure some people have already tried this, but just for shits and giggles. And as you can see, the light on the carts actually lights like the Famicom disc, which is cool. Wish I had a swiveling tripod, but I don't, unfortunately. But as you can see, yes, even in the Japanese version, the second quest name still works. I didn't really want to select that, but hey, let's go nuts. But as you can see, sound is working just beautifully. Now, it's still got a little bit to go. I'm sure Krikzz is fine-tuning it. But because I'm a huge Famicom Disk System fan, obviously that's why I named the channel Twin Fami. And have the Discoon as my logo. While the bass is right, some of the sounds are still a little bit off. Like the music is like when you pick up an object, it's still a little off. It's not as deep as the original. But then again, you know, people have been working on the FDS sound for years, trying to replicate it, and haven't really done it. That's one of the reasons I use the FDS stick, because the FDS stick was more or less an ODE for the Famicom Disk System. So it wasn't an emulation device, it was literally acting as if the drive was there plugged in. I'm going to continue real quick. I'm going to try out a couple Famicom Disk System games while I got the camera rolling. And by the way, I'm using this on a new Samsung 2019 TV. It's the one that went on sale over Black Friday, the 43-inch. And I usually recommend Samsungs to people who want to play games. Especially if you're going to get the Hi-Def NES and you're going to get the OSSE. This is definitely a TV that works with everything you throw at it. Except maybe the Super Nintendo, and the only time it does that is the Firebrand stuff. That's enough of that. So we're going to go down, start, exit game, and that's going to come in handy really, really well, especially since, I mean, yeah, I'm lucky I got the nightstand right next to the bed, and this is actually my bedroom I'm shooting in. However, say if you're in a living room, you don't want to get up, you know, you could just chillax back and just, you don't have to go to the system every time you want to restart. And there's another reason why I'm going to try another game. I'm going to go back to Zelda. It must be a different BIOS because you've seen it there. Please set discard and it starts. But you see what I mean? How like right on Metroid, it's not as deep. it's a little more buzzy than bassy. I know it's hard to describe it like that, but that's the best way to. Like where you're supposed to hear that real big bass, like that real deep bass that can, if you have a good sound system, could shake the room. That tone sounds more buzzing. It's more buzzing than it is bass. So like I said, it's still got a ways to go as far as FDS audio, but Krikzz is working on it. And so were people like Necronoma 5, who's come up with the FM chips that for the, who's also fixed the gimmick card as well. So they're all looking into it. And by the way, I don't think there's a Justin Bailey code here. And it's going to tell us to go to side B, and that's when we're going to press the button. B. Click of the button. I'd rather do it like that because it's better for the FDS experience. You have to get up. You have to swap the disc. Like the FM is a little off. It's not for the average player. You're not really gonna care. But just for like that's, for example, that sound as well when you pick up an item in Metroid. Compare that to original disc. And unfortunately, you know, this system is in storage right now, so or else I would. But there's plenty of playthroughs on YouTube where people actually have played it on the disc system. And another reason I'm not using the Famicom disc system on my Hi-Def NES is that the Hi-Def NES actually has issues with specific RAM adapters. I didn't know that. So I went to use the FDS stick on my RAM adapter, and what had happened was the graphic, it would lock up, the graphics would get glitchy, and I'm like, wait a minute, I've used this before on a regular AV Famicom that I got rid of, as well as my NES RGB that I used to have, that I sold to get this. Why is it a problem? And come to find out, certain chipset, because there's different RAM adapters with different chipsets. Certain chipsets will work on the Hi-Def NES, other ones don't, and the only problem is that they haven't really pinpointed exactly which ones, so it's a crapshoot. So it's basically pay $35 on eBay, $40 for just the RAM adapter, and hope for the best. And kind of sucks to do that, which is great to have an Everdrive or an FDS stick for, you know. But FDS stick, you still need the RAM adapter, obviously, but you don't have to buy a full setup, is what I'm saying, and find out that your Hi-Def NES doesn't support that card. And as a reminder, the slowdown is the Famicom. It is not the Everdrive, because NES, you know, is very cheaply made. So too many enemies on the screen. Because people seem to forget. The NES was outdated even when it came out in '83. When the Famicom came out, and it was revolutionary for the US because all we had was Atari. But in Japan, the FDS was already outdated. You know, I should say the Famicom. It was already outdated because you had systems that were better, like the, you had the SG-1000, you had the Epoch Cassette Vision, come out a little while after that. Then the PC Engine would come out in '87. You know, it was already old by then. And if you remember the story of the Famicom, it was more meant to be a cheap product that can outperform the Atari for only $100. And they wound up, I think, selling it for $125 in Japan when it came out. And the initial batch actually had issues, the square button ones. So, and it wasn't just that the square buttons, you know, kept sticking and people's fingers kept getting caught, but also because the system itself would freeze. And that's why people started relying on Nintendo, because Nintendo halted all production and fixed every single one of those defective Famicoms. They lost a lot of money, but as soon as the new circle button ones were put on the market and that problem was fixed, people started buying it in droves because they realized Nintendo actually backs up their products. Even now, like the Joy-Cons stopped working, people threatened to sue, and now all of a sudden, no matter if it's out of warranty or not, you could send your Joy-Con to Nintendo and get fixed. And there's been stories of people who've had their systems out of warranty for the Switch, and Nintendo didn't charge to fix it. So, the point is, you can stand by a Nintendo product. I don't think we're going to get out of that pit, so let's go to another Famicom game. I'm going to try one more Famicom game, but first, let's go back to Zelda. I still gotta find out what that BIOS is. I'm gonna go to side B. And there's our saves. Now, another good thing about this cart is that usually on the Everdrive N8 you have to hold down reset and let it go until the light blinks to save your Famicom data. So you have to hold down reset till the light comes on, release it, and it has to save the FDS image. With this cart, with the Pro, you don't have to do that. Don't worry about it. You want to use the in-game menu? Go to another game. Excuse me. Your saves are going to be fine. So don't worry about that. It's instant saving, which is great. And just to prove it, I'm going to start that second quest again. Obviously, I gotta get the sword, but it saves the fact that you put your name in. It still needs to write to the disk for that. And as you can see, we're back in business. We're gonna go exit the game. I'm gonna play one more Disk System game. And some of y'all may know about this game, some of y'all don't, but trust me, when you get the Famicom cart, try this game, you're gonna love it. It's simple, it's addictive. I didn't believe it until I actually started playing it, because I was recommended this game by quite a few people that played Famicom. Now, this really more saves your stuff. Like, saves your high scores and things like that. What should I call myself? Let's call it Everdrive because we're doing the review. Hopefully I have enough letters for that. Well, almost. Short one letter. Saving to the cart. This is such a simple game, but it's such a fun game. But sometimes this did have problems on the FDS stick. Like, the graphics will sometimes be corrupt, especially when this building part shake. So now we're gonna press it. It's gonna set side B. I'm loving how easy it is to press that button compared to the FDS stick I used previous. You could set the speed of the stage. So the point of this stage, you press up and B. Basically hold B to run the wire and the direction to put it where you want to go. The whole idea of this game, it's like an arcadey platformer, and you have to connect the wires to the different buildings. So you have to have a whole circuit around in order to get a building lit up. Once all the buildings are lit up, you can go to the exit at the other ladder and leave the stage. It does do the Mario and Donkey Kong thing of if you fall too long, you can die. Yes. And if you notice that enemies are coming to find me, and there's no time limit, so if you really wanted to, you could set up a rack of points like that. You gotta run and jump to avoid the enemies. But if you have a full circuit, the enemies can run into your wires and get electrocuted and you'll get points. However, on the other side of the coin, if you're running wire and it's not a full circuit yet, an enemy running into it can actually break your circuit and you gotta do it all over again. And sometimes a robber's going to appear, which you can catch. Like right now, I'm going to the ladder. I'm just gonna stand here, he's gonna run into me. And I got the bell for a 1-up. Like I said, it's very simple, very addictive. The jumping mechanic is a lot like Ice Climber. So, Ice Climber mixed with Donkey Kong. So, just keep that in mind, you'll be fine. I'm gonna let that last guy get zapped a little bit. He's gonna go up there. Oh, not two guys. Because even though you're out of the screen, he can still get zapped. And in the stage. By the way, can you believe this is the same company that made that Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle? That garbage. You know, the one the nerd talks about all the time? Now, there's usually an underground stage and a regular stage. After you beat the regular stage, there's an underground stage where you gotta get to the next city. So we gotta jump over that turtle. Now he turns on and off your light, and you need the light on for certain enemies to kill them, but also to discover brick walls that can, like that one, that can impede your progress. So that's in your way, then you gotta go somewhere else. Luckily, since it's the first level, we don't have to worry about that. Because these are supposed to be different cities. And yes, it gets a lot harder after a while. Especially now when you got 2 split buildings, and each building counts as its own circuit. Mice are even worse, because those are the enemies that can run into your wiring and screw it all up. So I'm trying to let it come after me because it's going to get zapped before it even touches me. I guarantee by the time I do that wire, he's already going to have my stuff chewed. And as you can see, he does. And then, because it's hard to do that jump in the middle. That's why I'd rather not let him come at me and get electrocuted. These times I'm going to wind up displaying like how you can die by falling. By doing a free fall, as Tom Petty would say. There's the robber. We'll go meet him at the stairs. And it's very easy also to overjump. So far I'm doing a good job. Another robber, which is hard to believe because I remember only seeing one robber. So I got another 1-up. You saw how he was spinning? Now if he spins and falls for too long, like unfortunately this, you're gonna see how he's gonna die. And it's good that this is working, because on the old N8 and especially the FDS stick, that sprite that appears when he dies, the graphics get corrupted, so it's nice to actually see the normal death animation. Because I actually have this on disc. I don't have the outer shell, you know, that clear box shell that the Famicom disc systems come in. Not where you put the disc in, but the outer box. So if anybody's got one of those spare, that would be greatly appreciated. You know, and I'm not a YouTuber that likes to ask for stuff for free, but you know, I'll pay for it if you need to. I just want to find a spare box. The barcode doesn't need to match, I just want it for completion's sake. Like, this is like the only time I've ever asked for something, and this is just to do a review because I haven't done one for him in a long time, and I felt this is one that needed to have more of an in-depth review than just, here it is, whatever. Alright, World 3 building. I'm probably going to play another game after this is over, after I beat this level. Because I think this is the level where the spiders show up. You know, in a way, this is another blast from the past, too. I gotta put them up one day. But when I first started filming gameplay, I would literally have an old VHS-C camcorder on a chair pointed at the screen like this. Same way. Except now it's in 4K and you can actually see what's going on. Oh, I didn't die there. Thank God. Oh, I'm gonna die here. Oh, no, I didn't. Wow. That's a spider, you don't want to touch that. But sometimes spiders will leave webs. Like now, and you're stuck, you gotta jump out of it. That's sometimes like what can happen when you die. Like sometimes I've died and it's been because of being caught in a spider's web. And in my haste to get out, I would tumble to the floor. And I'm doing that a lot for some reason now. Here. Yep. So we're going to exit game. Oh, one more real quick, actually. I'm going to try the translated Zelda. Show the animation from that. And yes, there is translated, there's a translated Zelda, there's a translated Doki Doki, and there's a translated Metroid. I love how they even have the misspellings as the Americans did. You know, it's really weird. You really don't need to translate this part because the Japanese have the English name and the Japanese name right next to one another. The only really thing that needs to be translated on this part is the sign that Link holds that says to refer to the instruction booklet for more details. That's the only thing that really needs to translate here. I'm glad the game is translated, whatever that needs to be translated, but still. Nice and dramatic way to end, you know? So now we're going to go to audio options, enabled. And you know what's coming up next. I do need to talk to Krikzz about that. That gets annoying after a while. That part's not his fault because, let's be honest, probably 95% of us aren't going to have a Hi-Def NES. But for the few of us that do, that definitely needs to be like an option at least. Can you believe this game is like a $500 game and up? It's crazy. It's a good game, but I wouldn't pay that much. This is, by the way, thanks to a Necronomicon. And it's hard to believe, especially with these graphics. This looks almost like a PC Engine game, but it's a Nintendo game. It's a Famicom game. And that's the secret to the NES's longevity, was simply being able to be expanded. And it was like, well, we're gonna give you a basic system, but if you want to pay for expansion chips, go right ahead. We'll put them in the cart. Just this way, the games will be more expensive, but not the system. And that's what made the NES last for so long. In Japan, it lasted until '94, I want to say, and in America, it lasted until '95. So 10, 12 years, that's not too bad. And especially once you have an expansion audio board and you deep dive into the Famicom library, there's so many amazing gems. And when I do start doing direct captures of this, I hope to show them off. This definitely, Lagrange point, which I mentioned earlier in the first impressions of this cart and what it looks like. It literally looks like the Lagrange, like a mix between an NES cart and a Lagrange point cart. And I'm going to show that off because I think that's the only game that really uses the VRC7. You can tell it's on, and I'll explain how in a minute. I will say, luckily me, because I had, aunts that imported stuff, growing up. I remember this game actually from my childhood. What had happened is, how to explain it? I actually remember this game from my childhood. What happened is that when this game came out, it was girls that bought it because it's cutesy. They saw in some of the magazines, that did like the import reports. And this one friend of my aunt's that was, heavily into importing like she did, she was like, I'm gonna have you play this game, okay? I'm not going to tell you what system it's for. So, like, literally, she had a Famicom, like the original RF one. She was like, I'm going to hide, she hid the system in the back of the entertainment center and just put the game on. Because at the time Mr. Gimmick came out, the AV Famicom I don't think was available yet. Or maybe if it was, we didn't have it. But anyway, just hearing the sound, and she's like, after a while, like getting into the first level, this friend of my aunt's asked her, she's like, what system do you think it is? She was like, honestly, I'm going to say the Sega Genesis. With the system still on, with the system still on, she literally took the fucking Famicom outside of the entertainment center and said, guess again. And I still remember the friggin' look on her face. She was like, you gotta be kidding me. That's the NES. Like, yup. The NES did that. Yes. And that's the reaction, especially people who've never played Gimmick or have seen like Dracula, Dracula Densetsu or Lagrange Point or Crisis Force. Oh crap! I know you need to get like all of the I think to get the best ending, you cannot die at all. But let's be honest, who's ever really beaten Gimmick other than maybe like a professional or a speedrunner and not died? Come on! And I say Gimmick will really test your gaming mettle, really test your skill. I always joke, by the way, of having like this big gigantic pay-per-view where you have like some of these esport champions from like Overwatch and Call of Duty, playing like some of the hardest retro games on Earth. Yeah, because how you beat him is you gotta hit him with the stars and make him fall off the platform. And it's hard. It really is hard. Especially like when you're, say, in your early 30s and your reflexes aren't as well as they used to be. But anyway, this is one of the games I put on that list. Oh, no. Gimmick is a fun game, but it's hard. So if you're ready to swear at the screen and throw your controller across the room, this is not exactly a game for you. And by the way, let's see here. Obviously, I can't continue because I never beat the level. So while we're here, let's do something real quick. Just to show you that it is the Hi-Def NES, and also if you have a Nintendo without the expansion board, what it's going to sound like if you don't have the expansion audio. We're going to uncheck that. We're going to reset it. Wait a minute. I think something. Wait a minute. Usually be able to tell a difference. So if this is the case, I don't think that you need to screw with that setting again. Oh, never mind. There it is. You can tell some channels of sound are missing. There is the difference. Okay. I got excited for a minute. I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe it's playing directly off the cartridge, so now we don't have to worry about that using a Hi-Def NES, but I guess I was wrong. But still, so you do need to have expansion audio enabled on your system. So that didn't change. But you can hear, like, especially like, helpful hint, try to hear this with your right ear. I'm going to fade out real quick. So you can hear with your right ear that certain channels are missing. So let's enable it again. And now the channels are back. Okay, there we go. So, basically, now you know what it sounds like with the expansion board, or expansion audio enabled, and what it's going to sound like for you NES people getting this card when they don't have the expansion board. So we're going to change the audio option again. There's some buzzing, but don't worry about it. I don't think the in-game menu works with Gimmick. Because I'm pressing down and start. The save is working, the quick start, but not the in-game menu. I wonder if Krikzz knows this is a problem. Because you see, this whole footage, I never changed the settings. So I'm pressing down and start, and all it's doing is saving the game. And I'm pressing up and start, it's still loading. So that buzzing is not the Everdrive, it's because I changed the chip to the VRC6. But that shouldn't matter as far as the cartridge itself. So, interesting. I definitely have to report that and show that part of the video. So, we're just going to turn it off and turn it back on. Hopefully, it saved the cart I'm going to use. I know, the infamous Samsung detecting device. That's what we got to deal with as a Samsung owner. So now we're going to go to Japan. And it's Akumajo Densetsu. Just make sure this is enabled. Oh, it's not. Okay. So obviously we need to do the VRC6 swap. And now it works perfect. Let's reset it. I think I might have to adjust the volume on here through the Everdrive. Because it's a little low. That line in the middle, that's just the iPad, the iPhone catching the television. Okay, so now it's a little louder. I know, real mature. I know. So when doing Densetsu, if you have a Hi-Def NES, you need to not only do VRC6, but VRC6 swap. Because let's be honest, it's really the only game you're really going to need the VRC6 for. I think there's a couple others, I'm not sure. For the VRC7, I'm pretty sure that Lagrange point's the only one. I could be wrong on that, but that's what the direct capture's for. I'm going to do each one, I'm going to do a separate video for each of those audio chips. Could be long, could be small, depends on how many games support it. But to me personally, especially since Krikzz put in an audio amplifier into the cart, and you see the different presets, to me personally, expansion audio is the main reason to own a Famicom. Not necessarily for the disc system games, or for the games that never came out in the States, because you can always use a flash card to play that. You can always use an NES to play those. Well, not with the, still the expansion audio if you want the FPS sound as pure as it is. But it's more for the expansion audio. Games like this, I mean, yes, we've got Castlevania 3 in the States. Soundtrack sounds a lot different. This sounds so much better. And I think it's one of the videos that I'm eventually going to do with this cart. Not probably as a part of the review, but just as like maybe a bonus round or a little separate feature comparing the two soundtracks. The one disappointment I do have why I was so Hi-Def NES stuff is that I know there's overclocking, but the overclocking speeds up the game. It doesn't do like the analog does and enables extra sprites, which for games with slowdown, like Gradius, and sometimes this game, you're going to need. Especially those Medusa heads that come out of nowhere. Sure, I could have just done the fancy thing and just dropped them before, but I bought it. Not today, Satan! You're not getting me! Ah! Nope, not happening. By the way, I don't know if they sell it anymore, But if you don't already and you have a record player, you need to get the soundtrack on vinyl. Mondo Music usually has it, or had it when it was out. I don't know if they discontinued it, but it is amazing to hear this in vinyl. Especially if you have good speakers. Oh my god. I think they have the NES and Famicom versions of the music on the LPs. Oh god. I hate that thing. I forget what it's called, but I hate that thing. Get our dinner. I think this is what boss we're up against now. Can't wait to hear Lagrange point with this. Because that's another soundtrack that sounds amazing on vinyl. And yes, you can actually fight back against the fireball. I know experienced players will know that, but you'd be amazed at least younger folks that are starting to get into retro gaming that try to jump and duck and don't realize you can actually go toe-to-toe with those statues. And here's the boss. Oh my god, did I just beat him without getting damaged? Did that seriously just happen? That's never happened to me before. That is awesome, and I'm glad I was able to put it on camera. Oh, that is awesome. Well, when you know it. Where am I gonna go? Am I gonna... Let's see, pick my poison. Do I want to potentially die by getting hit with a Medusa head and falling off of a bunch of cogs, or do I want to get crushed to death? Crushed to death it is. Okay. Let me just... Whoa, okay. Let's see here. So let me turn off the enables so you NES folks can hear what you're going to hear. Now this is what you're going to hear if you have an NES without the expansion board. Unless Krikzz somehow managed to do some magic and change it to where you can actually have expansion audio without the board on a Nintendo. Which I don't think is possible, because he would have advertised that and he would have said something, and also, you know, that would be a... Because here's the thing, the expansion audio on the NES, that needs to be enabled on the actual board itself. Now, there's an expansion board, but from what I heard from people, there's this mod you can do with a couple of resistors. I'm not sure. But this is what you're going to hear if you have a Nintendo. If you have a regular Nintendo. You can see how things are missing. That's, you know, weird. Actually sounds pretty cool. Almost like I'm not in Dracula's castle, but I'm at a disco. I'm at a techno club. I'm at one of those raves that these kids always go on and on about. Ah, crap. Let's do the... Okay, see, I noticed this for, like, okay, that's the second game that it's done that with. Let me just make sure it's not the Hi-Def NES's fault. VRC6 swap. VRC6. It's the right audio. No in-game menu. So far, the gimmick, which is the Sunsoft 5B, and the VRC6 don't allow you to do in-game menu. So that's interesting. I gotta definitely remember that. But the FDS, you've seen it allowed you to do that. So we're gonna shut this off again. turn it back on. That's sort of a bummer. Like I said, the cart just came out maybe like last month. So maybe, you know, he's still working out some bugs. Sony's Gamer, like I said, doesn't even have it yet. But I definitely need to bring that to his attention, see if maybe it was impossible to do that, or if it's a bug he needs to work out. But as you can see, the VRC6 and the 5B don't allow you to do the in-game menu. It'll still allow you to save, but it won't let you do the in-game menu. Alright, so crap in a hat. I'm not going to really do translations too much until I do the direct capture, because for now, at least for this playthrough that I'm recording on my tripod, I actually want to show off the games in their native form. If you notice, that's why I showed off Zelda first, but then at the end showed the translation. So you're going to see a lot of Japanese, and there are translations available, especially for this. There's translations for that, and it's on the Smoke Monster list. One thing I need to do is set it to VRC7, which I'm going to do now. Select. The MMC5, I forget what games actually use that for sound. I want to say the American Castlevania 3. I'm not completely sure. But why would you turn it on and off? That's probably not it. There we go. Now this is another one that you're gonna believe. If it's not a Sega, I believe this is looks like an MSU, not MSU, that's Super Nintendo, an MSX2 game. Especially from the start and select. I'm just gonna put a bunch of Japanese letter. Even if it doesn't make sense, I apologize. I don't know Japanese. I'm just gonna play the English version. But listen to that sound. And it's not that quiet either, because the original, I guess this is where the amplifier really comes in handy, because the original core that was written for that Necronoma 5 did for the original N8, it had the audio correct, but it was really, really quiet. Like, I would have a TV at 100, and you could still be able to barely hear anything. So I'm glad this is an actual option. But it's mind-blowing that this is an NES, and that's another thing that, you know, Famicom, and that's one thing that I definitely want to do when I start doing more routine videos as far as gameplay. You know how Stop Skeletons from Fighting has like an I Can't Believe series, where they did one for the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Original, and Game Boy Advance? I want to do one for the Nintendo, because unless you're a seasoned Famicom person or a die-hard Nintendo fan that has the NES, the Famicom, and all that stuff, you're not going to know about these games at all. Like, unless you're into Japanese games, you're really not going to know what Lagrange point is. At all. I will say this is one of my favorite tracks ever in a video game. So I'm letting it play. Now we're going to show you NES people what you're missing. And it's going to do that. Just need to restart it. Ha! You're not going to hear anything. Oh, that sucks. Well, you know all that beautiful music that you were waiting on? If y'all gonna get the NES version and you don't have the expansion board, you will hear nothing. Wow. And don't blame Krikzz, that's not his fault. That's literally you not having the expansion board. So, I think this is the strongest case for having one. If you're planning on getting this for the NES, and the expansion boards are like $20. Or maybe you can find somebody to do that mod for you. Something's trying to come through. Or maybe somebody's knocking at the door. Who knows? But this is the strongest case for having an expansion board yet. Because if you don't got one, you will not hear anything. No music. And I'm playing it as long as we did before. So all you're going to hear is the drums. You're not going to hear the actual music. So you may as well not play this game if you have a NES. And that's because the VRC7 is like an orchestra chip. It literally composes the entire soundtrack itself. It's crazy, right? Definitely crazy. The other ones the other two I gotta research, but those are the ones I know the most. And let's see if this works with the in-game menu. Nope. So 3 chips. And by the way, these are all the 3 chips that Necronama 5 worked on. Which is the VRC6, the VRC7, and the Sunsoft 5B. Every one of these was done by him. And they don't have the in-game they don't allow the in-game menu. Now for the like I said, for the original, I can understand that doesn't have as much power to do it on the FPGA, but this is a Cyclone 4. It should have enough power. But like I said, now that we know this, I gotta definitely put in a report for that. So at least that is the expansion audio games. Now we're going to play a couple homebrews, and these will still be shown on direct capture, by the way. We're going to go to unsupported. Too large. Who said it's too large? We'll show you. And we're going to show you right now with the very crappy Action 52. Oh, you gotta love that rip-off of It Takes Two. Now, this is amazing, if you think about it.
Make your selection now.
Oh, gee, God, it talks. Because the only way to play this legendary piece of crap, because remember, it took the nerd, what, like 2-3 videos to do all of this? The only way to play Action 52 on the original N8 was to actually split the games in parts. But as you can see, because it supports larger ROMs, the regular Action 52 cart loads up without any trouble at all. Okay, so where are the other games? I'll select. Might as well go to Cheetah Men. That's where everybody comes from. The Action Game Master was at his home playing his video game when suddenly an arm reached out of the TV and pulled him inside. When he looked up, he saw 3 gigantic yellow bodies. It was the Cheetah Man. He began to explain. The Cheetah Man told of the enemies here in the game world, "Don't worry, we will fight for you." The Cheetah Man ran off, and now the Cheetah Man. I tried to do my best Ernie Anderson, and yeah, kind of sucked. During this game, you will have 3 Cheetah Men, a different one in every second level to fight for you. I love how it's called Cheetah Men, right? That's what everybody knows this game as, and yet in the Action 52 menu, it's called Action Game Master. Use Aries, wooden clubs, and martial arts skills to defeat the enemies in the first 2 levels. Dear Christ. So now that the Everdrive N8 has its pro version, maybe, just maybe, somebody can finally fix this game to make it playable? Not playable, I mean, as in on the cart. I mean playable as in, you know, because Action 52 is a buggy mess. No matter what. I mean, this cart was put out to just rip people off. You know, make it actually playable, like, kill all the bugs, instead of worrying about, you know, remaking the games, just literally... Okay, so a bunch of enemies can hit me and I don't die, but yet... Oh, never mind. Let's see if the in-game menu works for this crap. It does not. So for the larger games, it seems like the in-game menu doesn't work. Turn it off. Turn it back on. Just for, I mean, I didn't touch it, but just to eliminate all possibilities. Okay, how did QSS get turned on? I did not change that. How did that happen? Because FDS Auto Swap was off. You've seen it. So what reset it? Let's try Lagrange point again, now that we know we have it on. Let's start the game. Okay, so they do work. Alright. So, apologies to Necronoma 5, it does work. But still, that's something to look into because I've literally showed you the entire time I've had this on and played it. I never went back to the menu. I'm guessing maybe one of the times when I was adjusting the sound it screwed it up. I don't know. But we know for a fact those cores do work. Okay. With the in-game menu. So, tech rule. It's always the simplest of things. And definitely now I need to get on Krikzz and see if he can disable the Everdrive menu while the Hi-Def NES menu's up. So we're going to go to Homebrew. Excuse me. Let me see if it's still... I don't know what that is, but let's see if it boots. Whatever this SD Gundam was, it boots! Oh, it said unsupported map or N8. It boots immediately. Let's see if this boots. Yep. Oh, cool. So there's certain games that wouldn't boot before that boot now. Except for that. So the in-game menu's not going to work. Alright. Okay, so let's go to the in-game menu again. Okay, so it's probably when I did the menu for the audio for the Hi-Def NES, I got screwed up, but that's what we're recording this. It's an experience. We're doing this. Too large. Okay. Those are unlicensed games, by the way. Oh, the homebrew's in here. Cool. So let's do Legend of Link first, because I've been dying to play this game. Although my friend Claire showed me this game, it was a little off. May have to stop soon. I'm getting the message, oh, iPhone storage almost full. Even though it shouldn't be, it kept deleting the stuff. Like I said, my friend Claire was showing me this game on an emulator. The music is a little grating. That's the only problem I have with it. Okay, leave. Leave! I'm supposed to take all of them. Why didn't you say so? I'm just used to taking the sword and leaving. After this game, I'm probably going to take a break and see why my iPhone has more storage. So I've only recorded an hour and it's changed. It shouldn't be full already. Unless it wasn't deleting when I put it to delete. This is cool. It's working. Figure out what to do, and that'd be great. Love how they use like the modified Game Boy sprites from Link's Awakening. That's cool. Was that the Song of Storms? Let's see if the in-game menu works for this. It does. Okay, so I'm going to take a break real quick and I'm going to see what's going on with this iPhone. Well, we're back at the Nintendo and it's really weird. It's like, that's the only one thing that's crap about iPhone. Like, I deleted everything I've shot, you know, the raw files the past couple of days. Yet the storage is still the same. Makes no sense. But anyway, we saw Legend of Link. Now we're going to show you Rockman 4 Plus Infinity. Now I'm not really familiar with Homebrew too much, so please forgive me if I don't know what these are. I only know about Legend of Link because, like I said, my friend Claire played it. So she's more of a cousin than a friend, but still. Start in A, okay. What would happen if I just press start? Well, another thing is why you would need a larger ROM for this. I mean, isn't it the regular Mega Man 4? Unless maybe they changed the music or something? I don't know. I just know that people would have asked for this game, which is why I'm showing it in this kind of rip. I noticed there's no slowdown, so that's good. There's still flickering, but there's no slowdown. Like, you know how the screen would stop usually when he got his energy? I don't see that yet. I don't understand all these great chiptunes that are out, especially when people do covers of classic rock songs. Yet, this is the best somebody can come up with for homebrew. Is he seriously able to clip through the floor? Weird. Well, if you like it, I guess, but it's not for me. Okay. It's another game I know people are going to ask for. Oh, crap. Yeah, I forgot the pressing start loads the last ROM thing. By the way, I think this is like a bootleg, but still. Who would want Final Fantasy VII on a Nintendo when you have PlayStation? Not just that, but it was also released on the Switch as well. I guess it's cool, but... kind of kills the factor a little bit, don't you think? Such, how would you do limit breaks in an NES game? Why isn't he dying yet? Finally. What if I can use some magic? I should be able to. I wonder how accurate this is to the PlayStation version. Guess it can't go in there. Guess it can't go in there either. Ah, crap. Oh, he's dead. Wow, okay. Guess I leveled up. Cool. Hey, they cursed in the Nintendo game. Awesome. Okay. You know, it's weird. This seems like something that would be like a joke, but it's not. It's real. You're playing it right, and we're playing it right now. Like something that you would say like an April Fool's Day. Final Fantasy VII for the Nintendo. You know, like when Google Maps tried to do that with their stuff? What if he knows magic? Oh, yeah, he does. So wait, how did Barrett's attack not kill him, but mine did? Same amount of energy gone. Almost like a Final Fantasy 1 hack, I want to say. So I guess I gotta go to the gate now. Where's all these enemies coming from? Weird. Really weird. They show you how much magic you have left. Attack 1, 18 to 25. 21 to 25. Oh, I missed that. Oh, come on. Yeah, it goes down by 1, okay. And neither one of us leveled up after that? That's weird. Who's this? So where exactly am I going? Nah, screw it. Alright, let's see what else we got here. Now, I want to see if this is on this cartridge, because if it is, there was a lot of, I think the N8 had a hard time playing this. The only way to play this was on an emulator, because this is one of those games that pushed the MMC5 to its limit as a cart. This was a 1 megabyte ROM, and the problem is that the original Everdrive N8 only had a 512K ROM. So, and this ROM is 1 megabyte. So let's see if this works, because I know people are going to ask about this too. Oh wow! So far, so good. Because this game was supposed to come out for the Nintendo, but never did. It must be working, because this screen would have been all garbage, and now you can see it's perfectly clear. Look at that. It works perfectly. Alright, so what are we gonna do? I know we need houses. I'm building houses. Yeah, so far so good. Let's make some commercial zones. I know that. I love how they have to explain it to you. Okay. So we're gonna build a power plant over here. Let's make it nuclear. Oh my god! Wait, what? Let's put it away from everything else because it's nuclear. You're telling me that this sucker is nuclear? So we're gonna build some roads. Right, just something simple. The town's gonna go into commercial. Be able to split off into the industrial. Just something simple to show off that this game actually works. Because this is practice mode. So that's all connected. Obviously we need a police department. And I think they'd have a hospital somewhere. Gotta put police and fire right next to one another. Build some roads for that too. Build some roads connecting the police station to practically everything. Considering that, well, you kind of need the police to be able to get there in a hurry, right? So, might as well. I'm guessing that's an airport? Yeah, so we're gonna make an airport right over. I need 10 grand for an airport. How much for a stadium? About $3,000. Isn't this sad? You can build a stadium before you can build an airport. Ain't that something? There we go. That's kind of stupid too. Oh, those are houses developing. Huh. I guess we could build a park around here. It's so cool to be able to play SimCity on an NES. Build mass transit. If only it were this easy to actually, oh, I don't know. If only it was this easy to actually build mass transit in, say, New York City. I mean, it has some graphical glitches, but I mean, remember, this is a prototype. So we got mass transit going to and from a stadium. 1901 fiscal budget. Current funds 1604. Build a power plant. I already built a power plant. I built 2 of them. You want another one? There seems to be a little bit of a graphical glitch here now. Citizens upset the tax rate is too high. Ha! You should live in Elizabeth. Taxes are always too high here. Wow, divisive, yes and no. What are the worst problems? Crime, housing costs, taxes, unemployment. How's crime up so high? Ah, fuck it. We know it works. Those citizens can go screw themselves. That's what I think. I guess I know how our mayor feels. Anyway. Alright, so we're going to try a couple more things. Because that was the biggest game people tried to get to work. Simply because, you know, SimCity, you either love it or you hate it. And a lot of people, once they found out about the prototype, they wanted it working on the Nintendo. So now that's a big reason also to get an Everdrive N8 Pro, because now SimCity works. I mean, I guess it's got some graphical glitches, but remember, that was a prototype. But the fact it's loading and working as well as it is, excuse me, on an Everdrive, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. I'll play a couple more games. Oh, we should definitely do this, because the Everdrive N8 also has a built-in NSF player. So I'm going to do that right now. Which is really cool if you want to listen to just straight video game music. And also people make enables so yeah, that's definitely got to work on that for the Hi-Def NES. It is so cool you can do that. So if you have a sound bar and you want to listen to some video game music, you can just put this on in the background, just let it go. I have a local game store, Digital Press, I go to all the time. I sure really, Leonard plays video game music all the time. He would love this. He could just set up like a Hi-Def NES or an NES RGB. Or even an AV Famicom, just connect it to the sound system somehow and just play this. And left cross pad is the to go back to the next to track. Right is to go to another track. B is to pause. A takes you back to the menu. Hearing this soundtrack really makes me wish that somebody would actually put this on. It would make like a super, especially now we got this Everdrive N8 with, better homebrew support. I want to see somebody take some sprites from Mario Land like they did with Zelda and just recreate Mario Land for the NES. So they took the last stage music and made it almost New Japan-like. Like imagine say Okada or Tanahashi coming out to this music, or even Jushin Thunder Liger before he retired. I'm telling you, if I ever worked in Japan, if I ever worked a match in Japan, I would definitely use this music. Played that already. Because there's not really much that you can do with this. This uses the VRC6, by the way. Yeah, we definitely got to do that. Let's see if there's any other VR6 music before that I want to demo before I disable that chip. Okay. I know what to do. Because obviously it works for the game, right? It's got to work for this. It's also great for testing out the different sound chips too. Audio options enables. Oh God. What did I do? Just making sure I didn't screw that up. Okay. There's the 7. So let's see if Lagrange point's one of them. It should be. I don't see why you wouldn't. Oh, just the sound effects. Oh, there we go. That is cool. Somebody knows it. Trying to find that track I like. Skipping the tracks, don't mind me. There we go. Although I wish that the track there was a way for the track title to show up on the screen instead of just what it comes from. I also noticed that the NSF, it's lower than the it's actually lower than the game. I want to run a quick experiment while I'm here. Let's see if it even works without it being enabled. And yes, it relies on the expansion audio. So, okay. So even if you wanted to play the NSF of the Lagrange point music, unless you have an expansion board enabled or the mod on an American Nintendo, you won't be able to play this. This is what it's going to sound like. And that's one thing I love about the Hi-Def NES, and it's a pain because you have to really know your games to enable it, but I can at least show you the difference between the two. Because now I'm going to enable the sound, and you should be able to hear it again. Just like that. So I'm gonna, and there's that stupid, that's probably what I did. Enables. Try the FDS sound on here real quick. I've seen some Super Mario stuff that use the FDS chip. Because some people, when they make NSFs, they actually use a different soundtrack. Like they use a different chip for the soundtrack. Which is why, like you've seen with the VRC6 Super Mario Land. I think I'm about to show you for the FDS. Although it really uses the same music as the original, so I don't understand how that's possible. I guess that's was left over from before. Let me just reset this so that buzzing goes away. There we go. So I guess some of these use the Namco chip. Interesting. Interesting. And the VRC7. Interesting. That is cool. Huh. I know one game that would really... And it just froze up. It just froze up. Look at that. I am pressing and nothing's happening. Oh dear Christ. Now it's working again. That's an interesting bug I ran into. See, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to review this card. It's not just like a review, a quick review, like the couple YouTubers that have it already that you see in the interviews up of, look at this card, it's amazing, go buy it. No, I don't do that. I put it through its paces. And really, I mean, I think it's an amazing card so far. I can see how people, it's hard to justify the extra cost, but so far I'm having a blast with it. And remember, this just came out, so there is some growing pains. And yes, by the way, there was a Famicom cart of that, which goes for obscene amounts of money. It was one of the few games that Konami re-released from the disc system on cart in Japan when the AV Famicom came out. That's where you see the cartridge of Castlevania from. But we're going to do the FDS because we have the FDS chip enabled. Should anyway. Yes, we do. Go back to that. I know it's noisy. But you can see even in the NSF player what I'm talking about, where it's missing some of the bass. I just think that if somebody can add the bass and study the bass in the FDS channel, I think it could fix it. I mean, it's close, but still missing that extra bass. My fault, I forgot. Next track. Yeah. I'm trying to keep these as short as possible or talk over them a little bit because, you know, YouTube can kind of be a dick when it comes to copyright. So, there's that. Let me just... audio. Let's see. Enables. We're going to go to Somersault 5B. Somebody had to do one for Gimmick. That'd be a shame if they never did. Like, come on. 5B disabled? Huh. That must be for, like, the NES, because, while it did come out for the NES in PAL territories, it never came out here in the States. We were supposed to get it, but we never did. But you know, the NSF player would be perfect for trying to actually test out these sound chips. And by the way, if you want to know what the C is composer. So that name is the person who composed this soundtrack. I keep forgetting. I'm so used to like pressing the button to start it again. There we go. Good soundtrack. But I'll tell you, they nailed Gimmick pretty well from what I remember. I haven't had the actual cart in my hand. I don't know, about 25 years. But I'm pretty sure it sounded like this. See, this is the kind of bass that you hear, the bass in this. This is the kind of bass that the FDS core is missing. So add like a little bit of a deeper bass and you got it. Especially if you put an audio, especially if Krikzz put an audio amp in this chip. There should be no, I mean, in this cartridge, there should be no excuse. I wonder if there's a vinyl to this. I would love to see that. This music is groovy as hell. I like it. That's one thing that playing the NSF player does get on my nerves. It's like, jeez. Okay, we're gonna do the 163 simply because swap AV. I gotta change that. How do I get out of here? There we go. Because remember, there was a couple tracks that were remade with the N163. So I might as well try them now, so it'll be a nice demo of the actual chip. Okay, that's VRC7, that's not one. What was it? There was an NSF. There we go, Overworld theme. Can y'all hear that? Because I can't. Huh. It sounds exactly like the Super Nintendo version, just heavily compressed. I guess that's the only one place. See what y'all get if you don't use this. Are y'all surprised? Really all surprised? Nothing. So if you have an NES one without the expansion board, you won't hear audio from the N163 or the VRC. You will still be able to hear some FDS audio, some audio in the VRC6, as well as some in the Sunsoft 5B, but not this. So we can make a note of that. Nothing. Oh, this is cool. I'm gonna lower this so I don't get any noise complaints. It's 12:30 at night, so I don't want to do that. This I didn't really know what NSF was too much. Like the only time I've ever used NSF files was when I was really younger, like about 17, 18, and the thought of playing video game music on my computer just blew my mind, and I would be playing it on Winamp. I don't know if y'all remember that, but Winamp It whipped the llama's ass for sure. I mean, it was, as they say, I mean, it was something that I used for about 10 years, 10, 11 years before I finally started using iTunes for everything. When we went from Winamp to Spotify. Ain't that something? I wonder if I press this. Oh, it goes back to the game. Huh. So I guess we know that for a fact. Let's see what else we can pull up. So there's one good thing. If, God forbid, I do get flagged for this, at least I know what needs to go off or what I can cut. That's cool that people actually use the NES stuff to make things. Now, what's cool about that also is because there's so many chiptune artists that use the Nintendo. Because that's the sound that everyone remembers. So a lot of times when you see people on YouTube putting up things like the 8-bit music, chances are this is what they're using. Which is cool because I like hearing that. I'd see if like people made NSF tones for that. I'd love to demo them on here. So pretty much every game you could think of and then some is on here. Let's see something real quick. Have to have this, right? That's cool. I can literally name you almost every single one of these tracks, at least in the first game. Because the first track, because you would think the tracks in this game are random, especially if you grew up with it. It's not. I think maybe one is, but other than that, they're not. So let's go through the motions. So let's play this first. Shit. This track is the opening for the Coliseum videos that came out around this time. Now, the game was released in early '89, but it was originally supposed to come out in like early to mid 1988. But this is unfortunately one of those games that got delayed because of the chip shortage, quote unquote. And so the Coliseum videos were using, you know, the video tapes just rent at the video store. It was using this music, this particular one. So that's what this is. This is the Coliseum video intro. We'll also explain why some of those people in the, some of those wrestlers in the game already left the company by that point. You know, like, you know, Bam Bam Bigelow was already in WCW. Honky Tonk Man already lost the belt. Hogan already lost the belt. Savage was the champion. DiBiase, and then Andre. Next track. This is Real American. And by the way, even if you're not a wrestling fan, everyone knows what Real American is. Everyone knows who Hulk Hogan is. To the point when I wear like a shirt in public, or I literally like mention wrestling in an older company or whatever to non-fans. Every single one of those people, even to this day, will ask me, "Oh, is Hulk Hogan still wrestling?" That's all they know. Hogan. Next track. Oh. That's Savage. This, I don't know what it is. I think it's the ending of the game. I think this is something somebody just put together. Yeah. Well, it's Honky Tonk Man's music. Because what's weird is they actually took some themes from Pile Driver. Because like half the soundtrack's Pile Driver, and that came out in late '87. Simply because like people like DiBiase and Andre didn't have music. This I could have sworn I heard before. This sounds like something off of Pile Driver. Oh my God, no way! I never realized that and it clicked just now. That's Stand Back. That's that song that Vince McMahon was dancing to at the Slammies. That's Stand Back. They gave DiBiase Stand Back. I forgot that DiBiase or Andre, but they gave one of those two Stand Back. That is cool. Stand Back, actually, the chorus is what I remember, and I'm hearing it in Vince's voice. That is cool. I gotta let my friend know, blow his mind. This is Girls in Cars. And if you don't know what this is and you grew up watching wrestling, this is Strike Force's theme. Kind of weird that they gave it to like one of the bad guy wrestlers in the game. Robbie Dupree made this song. Girls in Cars. Girls in Cars. Yeah, this is Girls in Cars. Next. They gave this to Bam Bam, but I don't know what this is.